All right, well, let's talk about those Twins, shall we? And to help us do so, let's bring in our very own Locked On Twins and MLB expert, Nash Walker, on Twitter at NashWalker9. And Nash, absolutely pleasure to have you on today and not Friday as originally planned, because we love talking some Twins after they win a couple. And the mood was not so great after last week, struggling against that soft spot in the schedule. And we knew things would only get tougher heading into Toronto this weekend without so many big key names. But they win 2 of 3, come away with the series. How about just some quick thoughts and takeaways from this weekend's series over the Blue Jays to kick us off?
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. This is my 3rd season as a host of Locked On Twins, so I've seen a little bit from the Twins, of course, in the last couple of years. 4th season writing at Twins Daily, started in 2019 over there. So I was doing 5 days a week last year for the last place Twins, recording every single day after their games. And the biggest difference to me I'm grateful now, guys. I'm grateful now that I had that, because I compare and I learned a lot, and I was focused on the prospects. I know the farm system so much better than I did, a year and a half ago. So watching that team every single day, the biggest difference for me is their depth just crumbled last year. And you watch this series this weekend. It's Nick Gordon. It's Alberto Celestino. It's Devin Smeltzer. It's Jose Miranda. It's the depth that comes up. And Jermaine Palacios had a big hit and played a great shortstop this weekend for the most part, had a blunder on Saturday. Saturday we'll forget about, but Friday and Sunday, Palacios was great. That's the difference for me. In 2021, I thought this team was very deep, and they were projected to, if not win the American League Central, be a co-favorite in the American League Central, coming off 2 division titles, rightly so. I thought they were deep in the rotation, in the bullpen, and especially on the position player side. It crumbled on them in 2021, and the difference so far, they haven't gotten a whole lot out of Carlos Correa. Byron Buxton's missed time. He wasn't good in May. So the top half of the roster, even Jorge Polanco hasn't done it like he did in 2021. So the difference, the reason to me why they're 8 games above 500 is they pitch very well overall. The depth in the rotation, the depth in the bullpen, and the depth on the position player side with guys like Celestino, Gordon, they're producing and they're coming through in spots where the Twins need them. And Miranda recently has done so after looking like he didn't belong in the majors. Now he's starting to hit some homers and play better defense. So that's been the difference. That was the storyline for me this weekend with the matchups. I think the Twins were plus 200 in all 3 of these games. Huge underdogs in these games. You look at the matchups with Chichi Gonzalez, with Devin Smeltzer going against Kevin Gausman. They just jumped on Gausman yesterday, and that's what they needed to do. The offense also just kind of took control of 2 games, and they needed that early on in these games.
Yeah, they didn't take care of business against the former twin Barrios, but it's fine. Whatever, it happens. It happens. Real quick before I ask you this question, Nash. Real quick, you might recognize this. M-I-Z.
Z-O-U, Reggie.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Let's go.
Yes. All right. Quick aside. That was a quick aside. But getting back to the Twins, you mentioned that pitching. Do you feel like that's the biggest surprise? Because I feel like that was the biggest question mark coming into this season.
Yeah, definitely. It has to be at this point. I think when you looked at last year's team as well, again, and you saw the rotation before the season with Maeda, Barrios, Pineda, Jay Happ, and Matt Shoemaker, I felt okay about it. And it still felt like they'll need reinforcements. They will need reinforcements. This is not a team you want to go into the postseason with. They're a long ways away from getting there. But yes, that has been a surprise. Joe Ryan, has he been a surprise? I think we saw last year what he could do. I'm surprised that he's continued it into this year at the same level. I figured, and it still could be the case as teams see him 2, 3, 4 times. They start getting on that fastball up in the zone. Still possible, but he was outstanding. Sonny Gray, I knew was going to be good. I think he's underrated from a league-wide perspective. I loved that trade for Sonny Gray. When he's healthy, he's been awesome for them. Yep. So at the top, in the front, not a huge surprise that Ryan and Gray have pitched well when they've been healthy and on the mound. Maybe in the back end a little bit with Bundy early. Josh Winder was very good. I'm not surprised. I knew that this is a possible outcome because the Twins, they have these young pitchers coming up in Winder, and you see Yohan Duran in the back of the bullpen. They got more guys coming, which is exciting. And even beyond, Balzovic, who hasn't been very good at AAA, even beyond him, David Festa's pumping 99, 100 at high A, got moved up. They have multiple guys. Louis Varlin, the minor league pitcher of the year last year from Concordia. He's from St. Paul. Very, very good. So they have other guys coming. I'm not surprised in that sense. Maybe I'm surprised at the way that they did it after the 4-8 start, where they just rolled and everybody pitched well, including Chris Paddock, who's out now. But it felt like every single day their starters were giving them a chance to win, when so many times last year, guys, they would get to the bottom of the first at Target Field and they're down 5-0, and you're trying to put together good at bats as an offense, and it's like, we have no shot tonight. There's just no way this is going to happen. You need starting pitching that gives you a chance to win. We hear it all the time. That's been the biggest difference as well. They've been given chances to win these games, and they're 32-24. They've taken a lot of those chances.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Nash, one of my favorite things to do after nearly every Twins game is go check out the box score and pull up Luis Ariza's stats for the night, because more times than not, I can just sit there and it just brings a smile to my face. 4 for 4 with a walk yesterday, and if it's not that, it's 3 for 5. 2 for 4 with 2 walks. I mean, the Twins have one of the hottest, if not the hottest hitter in the league right now. Who's been more impressive for you through this first third of the season, him or Johan Duran? Like, who's more fun and entertaining to just sit back as a baseball lover and watch right now for your money?
It's a really good question. Louis in 2019, I remember when he came up and just hit, and he's never stopped. It's been so fun to watch. And I think when Louis had his stretches last year, there were times when he wasn't very good at the plate. I think it's health related a lot of the time. He's really healthy right now. He's feeling good, knock on wood. When he's healthy, this is what he does. This is just Luis Ariz. He's done it since May of 2019. He did it in the minors. He was, as a prospect, underappreciated because he didn't have the power, but you see the value that he brings. It's such an extreme special skill set, and it's so unique. He's a unicorn. He can get to fastballs in on his hands. He'll spray the ball all over the field. He can hit everything. He gets to 2 strikes. It doesn't matter. You guys know, you watch him. It's really fun to watch. Yeah. Johan Duran gives me the chills when I watch him pitch. This is somebody I've written about a lot in the minors, and in 2019 he just didn't have the strikeout numbers in the minors, and it was shocking. It's like, why isn't he getting swings and misses in the minors? And he had like a 3.50 ERA. It wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad season, but it was surprising he wasn't getting those swings and misses. Last year he gets moved up to the Saints. He strikes out 14 of the first 28 hitters he sees, and then he got hurt and he struggled and he got shut down with an elbow problem. 16 innings. I wrote an article in spring training. During spring training, I said, you got to put this guy in the pen this year, and you got to let him just eat. And what they did is, in spring training, they moved him to the bullpen. Obviously not because of my Twins Daily article, but they moved him to the bullpen. I thought it was a great idea. They did that, and they watched what he did in spring training. It's like, this guy's got to be on the team. The biggest thing for him, too, the walks. He's got like a 4% walk rate and a 40% strikeout rate. Usually guys who throw 100, 101, 102, they have like a 10%, 15% walk rate. Wow. That's huge to have a 4% walk rate as a rookie pitching in the biggest spots. And how about his composure, guys? You watch him. He's so dialed in. He doesn't seem like he's overwhelmed by anything. Jorge Alcala came up, and I love Alcala's arm, and he'll be back soon. And he's not on the same level of stuff, but he's similar. He's probably got the second best stuff in the entire organization. He doesn't have that same composure, and it's taken him a lot of time and energy, I think, to learn how to deal with those spots and learn how to deal with tight situations. And you can see his energy on the mound. It's sometimes a good thing for him. Other times it's not. Duran's like this. And that's what you've seen for the young pitchers. Joe Ryan's the same way. Josh Winder looked to be the same. Bailey Ober, the same way. That's impressive when you see these young guys. But Luis Ariz every single day. I think second to Byron Buxton, you feel his absence the most when he's not in the lineup.
Yep.
Byron Buxton, obviously, you feel it because what he does on both sides of the ball. Luis Ariz, such a spark plug for them. I said last night, I think he should be leading off every day and hit Buck second. And I think that's probably what they'll do. Still possible they just leave Buck in the leadoff spot. But Louis, he's on one of those stretches. And last year, he did get a little streaky. So I wonder this year, is he going to be more consistent? He's not going to hit 350 all year. But I'm very curious to see how he continues to progress into the All-Star break. And I think he's their clear-cut All-Star right now, him and Duran.
Absolutely. And so in that same regard, you talked up Duran so much. How about the Tyler Duffy experience. Like, it's been a roller coaster, and fans are just like at their wits' end with the guy. What's your thoughts on Tyler Duffy?
It's tough. I've defended him at times. I've criticized him at times. You look at Tyler Duffy, and when he came and moved to the bullpen in 2019, they moved him down. They sent him down. He comes back up, and from that point forward, it was like mid-May 2019, 3 years ago, he was one of the best relievers in baseball until the end of 2020. Legitimately, you look at the numbers, you watched him, 95, 96 with just the hammer knuckle curve. He was super tough, and he was their fireman. He was coming into all these tough spots, bases loaded, jams. They would go to Tyler Duffy, and he would get outs for them. He was one of the best relievers in baseball, 2019, 2020 combined. Zero question about it. Shortened season was great again. Last year, into mid-May, had like a 5-something ERA, and then from mid-May to the end of the season, put up the same numbers as he did in 19 and 20. The difference, his fastball was down to 91, 92. Everyone's like, what's going on? And it shows you the importance of fastball velocity. If you go from 95 to even 93, the difference is massive, because then hitters, they're not scared of your fastball anymore. They just sit on that curveball. And you see it with Tyler Duffy. Do you see swings and misses on his curveball anymore? Not really. He's got to spot it up perfectly because they're not scared of getting beat by his fastball when they were 2 years ago. Yeah, I mean, it's probably time for Tyler Duffy. I think that's become evident. I think they're going to move him down to like the lowest of lowest roles because his peripherals showed last year. He's a free agent after this year anyway, so he's not going to be pitching for the Twins if it's even now beyond this year. His peripherals show he's not getting the swings and misses. The fastball velo's down. There are better options back there, younger options back there. And yeah, his time's coming to a close with the Twins. And that was almost a disastrous loss yesterday. I know Twins fans are sitting there just wondering what would have happened if they had blown that game. He was not good, and he hasn't been good for many outings this year when they need him to be.
Yeah, stop putting him in high leverage situations like time and time again. It's like Rocco's just like, no, but we believe in Duff. Go ahead.
Yeah, I will say, Reggie, they to back Rocco a little bit, they lack arms. They need arms.
Yeah.
I've heard you guys talk about it before, going out to get a starting pitcher at the deadline. I don't think the Twins have like a clear weakness. I think they could get better in all three areas. I think they could add a bat for sure. I think they could add a starting pitcher. They should add a starting pitcher for sure. I think they need bullpen arms absolutely to go into the playoffs. They could add in all areas. And the bullpen, they have how many good relievers right now? One? They have one good reliever, like who you're actually very comfortable with putting in the game late in situations. One guy. And maybe Alcala is who he was in the final month and a half of last year, which is dominant. He was so fun to watch last year down the stretch. So maybe he comes back and he gets back to that form. Emilio Pagan is okay, I think. He's okay. He's not good. He's not awful. When he's pitching well, he's okay. But he's not somebody in a playoff series you're putting out there in the ninth inning. I would not support that decision either.
Nash, we could sit here and pick your brain literally all day. I know we got to get you out of here. One more. I'm a big draft guy, NFL draft. I know the MLB draft's coming up here soon. But just for a surface fan like myself, who's a prospect or two, just a name I can jot down to remember that, you think could be kind of exciting for Twins fans to remember in the back of their head over the next 2-3 years?
In the Twin system?
Yeah, in the Twin system.
Oh, man.
This
is like, this is my bread and butter.
This is your stuff.
I love this. I love this. I would say like longer term, Emmanuel Rodriguez is such an obvious choice. He's an outfielder. He plays center. Probably going to be able to stick in center, but he's 19 years old. The power has been ridiculous. He was signed by the Twins in 2019 as an international free agent. I want to say he was a top 10-ish prospect signed in that class.
Wow.
Good outfielder. Left-handed swing, massive power, draws a ton of walks. And the biggest thing is his age. He's 19 years old, and you can see what he's doing right now for Fort Myers. It's been incredible to watch. He's unbelievable, and he hit another homer yesterday. I think he's like hitting 280, but his on-base percentage is 480, and he's slugging 600 or something nutty. So he's long-term. I think will be their number one prospect in the future. The strength of this Twin system, as much as we loved watching Royce Lewis, and I think Royce Lewis will be a good major league player, that was pretty clear when he came up. And Austin Martin, I think, even with the way he's played at AA, it's been underwhelming, I still think he'll be a good major league player. He has the tools and the hit tool to be a good major league player. So the top is fine, but the depth of the system is what separates them. They have guys like Jermaine Palacios you see come up a lot of people have never heard of Jermaine Palacios. He's maybe the 25th best prospect in the system, if you consider him a prospect. And he comes up, plays a great shortstop, has a couple nice hits, put together good at-bats, and, looked fine as a major league shortstop. He's not someone you want playing every day, obviously, but he's fine as a third or fourth string shortstop. So I would say Rodriguez, and then you look at the depth, more arms coming. Marco Raya, they drafted in 2020. Big time arm. He's small. His favorite pitcher is Marcus Stroman. I talked to Marco right after the draft, and he said people are going to know my name. So Marco Raya, and he's really putting it together this year in Fort Myers and pitching extremely well. I think he'll be up soon. Mid-90s fastball, hard hammer slider, right-handed pitcher, driven, kind of a bulldog on the mound. So I really like him too. Rodriguez, Raya. I'm going to give you a third. Let me give you a third.
He's just flexing on us right now.
Dude, we got the Mel Kiper. We got Mel Kiper Jr. on right now, talking MLB draft right now. This is unbelievable.
Someone a little closer, guys, that I mentioned is Louis Varland, and I think he's gone under the radar this year. Matt Cantorino, of course, you guys have probably heard about too. Yep. You'll probably see him next as far as arms go, especially if Balzava continues to struggle at AAA. Cantorino. I talked to Matt this offseason. This stuff is unbelievable. It's not Yohan Duran, but it's the same vein. He's upper 90s with the fastball. If you move him to the bullpen, he'll touch triple digits. His curveball is 12-6 straight down, and his splitter he's added now against lefties is nasty. Cantorino is going to be someone you will likely see in the second half. I think they'll watch him. They see what he's doing in the minors. Unbelievable video game like numbers, and they'll say this guy can help us in the bullpen right now. So I think you'll see him. But Louis Varland from St. Paul, we always follow the Minnesota guys, Matt Wallner, Louis Varland. It's fun to watch them and see what they do. Louis Varland, huge ride on his fastball. You think of Joe Ryan's ramp. Louis Varland's very similar. He's got a great slider. A lot of guys with good fastballs, good sliders, guys, right-handed pitchers in this system. Louis Varland is another one from St. Paul, from Concordia. I went to Concordia. I think a 15th round pick a couple of years ago, but now he's one of the best pitchers in the system, and he's at AA. So they got guys coming. We're going to continue to see infusion at the major league level, and it's exciting. That's the most exciting thing in baseball as a prospect. It's the most exciting thing to dream on, and then you see how they progress, like Jose Miranda or Celestino. Celestino looked like he didn't belong in the majors last year when they called him out. He was terrible, and now he looks like a great, fourth outfielder, maybe even starting caliber. So it's fun to watch. I love it. I love watching these guys progress. I love watching the minors and seeing what they do every day. And it's a blast, and we're going to see more of them.
Yeah, as an NFL draft lover, I get it. Just the potential of what these guys could become is always fun. Plenty of great names for fans to jot down there. Amazing stuff, Nash. We'll see if the Twins can keep the good juices flowing. Their most daunting test of the year, a real litmus test now to see where this team's at, because the New York Yankees are coming to town. Hottest team in baseball. First pitch, 6:40 p.m. Rest assured, Reggie and I will be back here tomorrow to break it all down. Rest assured, our guy Nash Walker will be live on Locked On Twins podcast after the game. Check him and Brandon Warren out every game after on Locked On Minnesota Network. And don't forget to follow him on Twitter at NashWalker9. You guys do such great work, man. Love tuning in every game. Keep it up. We'll have to get you on again real soon, all right?
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Continue doing what you're doing, and continue to toss around some names the Twins could trade for at the deadline. Go digging. I heard the Juan Soto episode. I was like, I like that. Go digging. Circle like 5 starters and say, hey, let's. People love it. So continue doing what you're doing.
You the man, Nash. We'll talk to you soon,
Nash.
All right, talk soon.
All right, later. Nash Walker, again, on Twitter, at NashWalker9. Again, check him and Warren's Twin podcast out every game, part of the Locked On Minnesota Network. Reggie, a lot of great stuff from Nash, per usual. What's the one thing that just stuck out to you?
Dude, his supreme knowledge of the prospects, man. Okay. Like, I got excited. I'm like, can these guys come up now?
We're talking to Todd McShay, man. I don't know. I said Nash Walker on the screen, but that was Todd McShay.